Have you been looking for something to fill the Game of Thrones sized void in your life? Well, you might have just found it.
When a humble bard graced a ride along with Geralt of Rivia, along came this song.
The Witcher. Happy New Year everyone, my name's Abi and welcome back to Slice of Pie. Today I'm going to talk about what's so amazing about The Witcher and why it can lead to massive changes for the entire entertainment industry. Oh, and if by any chance Henry Cavill or someone from Netflix happens to be watching this, I've got some important messages for you at these times here. By the way, I know I never made a review for Star Wars Episode 9, but I was really quite disappointed by it. If you're curious as to why, then let me know in the comments below. But back to The Witcher. Like I said, it's a lot like Game of Thrones, in that they're both in a somewhat similar fantasy genre, and they're both definitely not made for children. However, I found the battles, creatures, scenery, and world building were quite reminiscent of Lord of the Rings. But comparing The Witcher to those fantasy series is a little bit of a disservice though, because The Witcher is based on its own set of books written by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. I hope I said that right. Not to mention the immensely popular video game series of the same name, which is how I first came to know about it. If Netflix and CD PROJEKT RED know what they're doing, they can really change everything here. For the next Witcher game, if they use the character models and the voices of the Netflix actors, they can build a cohesive cross-medium universe, exploring all of the expansive lore provided by the books, and everyone will be more invested and connected to the characters. Some mods for Witcher 3 have already been made, which have Henry Cavill's face for Geralt, but we all know that CD PROJEKT RED can do it much better. Now Netflix is loaded, so the production value of The Witcher is incredible. The creatures, the magic, the special effects, the CGI, the cinematography, they all look beautiful. The world building is rich and expansive. It's very clear that showrunner Lauren Hisrich and everyone involved put so much thought and effort into every little detail. It was really a labor of love, so I have to commend them for that. I also love the concept of chaos being all the dangerous potential out there in the universe, but channeling it to manifest something is the expression of magic. I'd love to hear Jordan Peterson's thoughts on that. The action and fight choreography were also incredibly well done. There's one particular fight that was so brutal, I was just like, holy and my jaw dropped. In that way, it kind of reminded me of some of the fights in Logan and Deadpool. It was like watching a medieval magical John Wick go to work. Henry Cavill has amazing agility, stamina, and dexterity to pull off all those incredible fight scenes in one take. Lethal, brutal, yet graceful. Henry would make the perfect Richard Rahl from the Sword of Truth series. He's now even got the transferable skill set for it too. I also have to say, you need to pay very close attention to the details in the very first episode. They'll come in handy later in the season. The plot of The Witcher is non-linear, with several timelines and characters that intricately weave together. But I have to admit, it was a bit confusing watching it the first time around. And that's because some of the characters don't really age, so they look the same in past and present events. Avengers Endgame got around this by giving the characters very different looks for their past and future selves. It wasn't too hard to figure out in The Witcher, but I think they can figure out a better way to do things like that in Season 2. Which has already been confirmed by the way, so hooray for that. My only other real gripe with the show was it just wasn't long enough, it was too short. I hope Season 2 is at least 10 episodes long, instead of 8. Sadly, we'll have to wait until next year to see it though, but could that be because Henry's reprising his role as Superman? I can only hope so. The characters are where the show really shines though, and for the most part they really do justice to their established counterparts. Jaskier the Bard, also known as Dandelion in the games, adds some very welcome levity and has a great dynamic with Geralt who slowly warms up to him. He's the perfect foil.
Come here.
Yeah.
Come on, Roach.
Not to mention the man can really sing with great vocal range, and he has some really catchy tunes, as you heard in the intro of this video and we'll hear again at the end. That song has already been played over 7 million times on YouTube. I'll link it below. Yennefer had a really interesting backstory and character arc that gets thoroughly explored independently from Geralt, but destiny keeps bringing them back together. She has suffered quite a lot earlier in her life, but is now so much stronger as a consequence. There's actually a lesson to be learned there for all of us. Then of course there's Geralt of Rivia, but more on him in a bit. When it comes to the acting, everyone did a great job. Freya Allen was perfect as Ciri, Jodie May was riveting as her grandmother, the Lioness of Sintra, Queen Calanthe, Anya Chalotra was empowering as Yennefer, Joey Beatty was hilarious as Jaskier, and then of course there's Henry Cavill, who completely embodied Geralt. The demeanor, the mannerisms, the nuanced traits of an empathetic monster. Henry Cavill seems to have a knack for playing tortured, unappreciated heroes. He really pulled it off in Man of Steel as well, and I think it's because he personally embodies Superman too. This project was largely carried on his shoulders. He fought like Geralt for his role as Geralt. He's played the games, he's read the books, he knows the lore and the character inside and out, and that really comes across in his portrayal. As a person, Henry seems really down to earth and relatable. Well, for me at least. He's a fellow gamer, he's passionate, he cares about things, he's articulate and eloquent, and you can see he's really trying to make a difference. So when it comes to the rare people like him and Keanu Reeves, I will always try to support whatever they try to do because they deserve it. They're what role models should be. So that's my first request to Netflix. Please give Henry and Keanu the reins. And I don't just mean to Roach. Give them creative control for whatever projects they want to pursue, because I know they'll throw everything they've got behind them and make it amazing. Maybe you could even set up a project with both Henry and Keanu together. I'm sure that's going to be epic and a lot of people are going to watch that. If you agree, hit that thumbs up button and go sign the petition after this linked below. Second request to Netflix. Now that we know through The Witcher you are capable of making incredible, faithful adaptations, please don't screw that up with the live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Please don't Shyamalan it. A small part of me still hasn't forgiven him for that. If you're watching this and you agree, hit that like button. If you already have, thank you. Maybe you can hit the subscribe button instead. I'll be making a video about why Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the greatest shows of all time. I mentioned that in my Game of Thrones review and I'm sticking by it, so stay tuned for that. Third request. Can you and Henry please work together on the adaptation of the aforementioned Sword of Truth series? Pretty please, it's right up your alley. I know you won't screw it up like Legend of the Seeker did and make it PG. Now the last request. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy on Netflix. There's the obvious greats like Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, Ricky Gervais, Joe Rogan, but I've also discovered ones I didn't know like Daniel Sloss and Eliza Schlesinger. There's one new comedian I've just discovered too, who can do something I've never seen another comedian do. In fact, most humans can't do it in general. He's British comedian Chris Turner. He takes random suggestions from the audience and makes hilarious, intelligent freestyle raps with them. Not only is that amazing by itself, but he's also extremely knowledgeable about history, science, economics, politics, and pop culture. So I actually learned a lot from his raps, which is really underrated in today's day and age. Please give him a Netflix special, he deserves it. And you can see that from his latest video linked below. Chris, if you're watching this right now, that thing I was telling you about is happening soon. Now back to Henry as a role model. I actually set a goal about 20 months ago to reach his Man of Steel physique. Needless to say, I'm a long way off from that, and he's gotten even bigger since then. How much progress have I made? Well, you'll find out soon. I'm happy to announce I'm partnering with F45 The Ponds for 2 weeks and documenting my transformation. There are limited spots available, but if you'd like to track your progress too, you can join me. Now Henry, if you're watching this right now, not sure if you remember meeting me 6 years ago during the Man of Steel premiere. I was a lot chubbier back then, but if you really are as I described, and like Superman you really are trying to save the world, then let's do that in 2020. Can you please check your DMs on Instagram from SliceOfPie and SliceOfPie.tv? If anyone can help Netflix and Henry Cavill see this, I'd be forever grateful. Alright, I'm finally done. I know that was much longer than a typical review, and that's because it wasn't one. If you'd like to help save the world and you haven't already done so, please hit like, subscribe and the bell icon. If you're feeling even more generous, then please share this and then maybe we can make big things happen together in 2020. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.